Obinna stood quietly at the Murtala Mohammed International Airport, holding his passport tight. His wife, Amaka, adjusted his collar and whispered, "Don't forget the plan. We have sacrificed too much for this. You are going there for us." He nodded behind them. Two sleepy children clung to their mother's wrapper. "I will send for you soon," he promised, kissing Amaka gently. "We will all live the dream. Just play your part," Obinna said to his wife Amaka. As he disappeared into the departure gate, Amaka pulled out her phone and sent a message to her cousin in Atlanta. "Sister, he's on his way. Remember, I'm his sister now." 3 months later, Obinna had landed on his feet with charm and with a heavy Nigerian accent. He quickly blended in with the African diaspora in Atlanta. He got a cash-in-hand job at a car wash, shared a 2-bedroom apartment with other immigrants, and began to build his plan. But time was running out. His visa was nearing expiration. One Sunday afternoon, at an African culture event, he spotted her, Danielle, a beautiful African-American woman with a kind smile, full natural hair, and a business owner attitude. She sold handmade shea butter and black soap from her car boot. He approached her with a thick grin. "Sister, I can see you shining from across the hall. Do you believe in destiny?" says Obinna. She laughed. He was different from the men she knew. Charming, confident, foreign. They exchanged numbers. 3 months later, after their first meeting, Danielle fell hard. Obinna called her Queen D. He sent sweet morning texts, cooked her spicy jollof, and introduced her to his sister, Amaka, over video call. Amaka played her role to perfection, always warm, humble, supportive. Eventually, Obinna sat Danielle down.
"I want to be with you forever, but I have to be honest. I need a green card to stay here."
Danielle blinked, stunned, and says, "So, you are saying you want to marry me for papers?" "No," he says quickly.
"I love you, but it will help us build a future faster."
She hesitated, but love, loneliness, and dreams of building a strong black family pushed her to say yes. Danielle wore a white knee-length dress. Obinna wore a suit 2 sizes too big, borrowed from a friend. They said "I do," with smiles, though his eyes betrayed a flicker of guilt. Back in Nigeria, Amaka watched the pictures on WhatsApp and held back tears. She showed the kids the screen. "Daddy has done it," she said. "Now we wait." With marriage papers filed, Obinna began the second part of his plan. He contacted an immigration lawyer, started saving more, began quietly applying for visas to bring over his niece and nephews. Meanwhile, Danielle was falling deeper in love, showing off her new husband to her friends, defending him when people asked, "Is he using you?" "He is different," she says. "He is family-oriented and loyal." But cracks started showing. Obinna was often busy, emotionally distant, and evasive. He sent large money transfers overseas. He would speak in Igbo when talking on the phone to Amaka and snap at Danielle if she asked too many questions. 9 months later, Obinna had secured visas for his kids, calling them his sister's children. Of course, they arrived with Amaka, who was to stay briefly while job hunting. Danielle, though confused, agreed to host them. When they arrived at the airport, Danielle was struck. The resemblance was uncanny. One of the children called Obinna Papa. Danielle laughed nervously. Wait, did he just say Papa? Obinna stammered. No. In our language, Papa can mean uncle too. It's a cultural thing. Danielle nodded, but something felt off. Over the weeks, Danielle watched Amaka, too comfortable, too familiar, and too possessive of Obinna. The children clung to him like he was their real father. Danielle grew suspicious. One night, while Obinna was in the shower, she went through his phone. She opened a WhatsApp thread with Amaka. Her hands trembled as she read messages. Our plan is almost complete. Soon she will be out of the way. The kids are settling. Our new life is beginning. I will tell her we are moving out soon. Danielle dropped the phone. Heart pounding, a quiet scream caught in her throat. The next morning, Danielle served breakfast in silence. Obinna ate like nothing was wrong. Amaka helped the kids get ready for school. Danielle stood and said coldly, Obinna, you lied to me. He looked up slowly. She threw the phone on the table. Your sister? Really? That's your wife, and those kids are yours. Amaka's face drained of color. Obinna stood up slowly, trying to reach for Danielle. Obinna says to Danielle, it's not what you think. Shut up! Danielle screamed. You used me for a green card, for everything. I brought you here. I trusted you. I loved you. Obinna tried to explain, but Danielle was already at the door, throwing his things into the trash. Danielle stood outside her apartment, breathing heavily as tears rolled down her cheeks. Inside, Amaka comforted the children. Obinna stood between two broken walls, one built on lies and the other destroyed by them. Danielle whispered to herself, I let the devil in and I gave him the keys. Danielle sat alone in her living room. Her once vibrant smile was now a mask of pain. Boxes packed with Obinna's belongings sat by the door. Her phone buzzed. It was Obinna. She declined the call. Seconds later, a voicemail came through. Danielle, please, I never meant to hurt you. I was desperate. You are the only one who ever truly cared for me. Please let me explain, face to face. She deleted it without listening fully. Obinna and Amaka now lived in a dingy motel. The perfect plan was crumbling. The immigration lawyer had stopped replying. Danielle had blocked him. He still hadn't received his green card. Amaka paced the floor furious. This was supposed to be smooth. I left my home, my job, everything for this. Now we are living like fugitives. Obinna snapped. You think this is easy for me? I lost her. She was the key. Amaka turned cold. Maybe you loved her more than you admitted. Obinna said nothing. Danielle wasn't the same woman anymore. After crying for 2 days straight, she had a revelation. I won't be a victim, she told her best friend, Trisha. He used me, but I'm going to use this to wake women up, Danielle says to her friend. She launched a TikTok series titled My Green Card Husband, anonymously detailing her story in parts, using voiceovers and visuals without revealing faces. Within a week, her videos went viral. Women commented, Girl, same thing happened to me. This story is wild. Expose him, let him rot. Danielle's story had become a movement. Obinna was summoned for an immigration interview. Danielle had reported the marriage as fraudulent. He arrived nervous. The officer slid a file across the table. Mr. Obinna Nonso, your case has been flagged. Your wife has provided evidence indicating you misled her for immigration benefits. Obinna stammered, "No, sir, I loved her." The officer raised an eyebrow. "Then why did you bring your sister's children here and enroll them in school using your last name?" Obinna's mouth dried. The game was over. Amaka, desperate to hold on to their American dream, secretly messaged Danielle on Instagram from a fake account. "You think you've won, but you only delayed us. He may have lied to you, but you were just a pawn. Women like you fall easily." Danielle responded, "Thanks for confirming everything. I'm taking this to court." Amaka laughed, but 2 days later, she got a letter from Child Protective Services. Someone had reported the kids living in unsafe conditions. Danielle wasn't playing anymore. Danielle filed for annulment, claiming fraud. She sat in court in a sleek black blazer, holding her head high. Obinna, dressed in a worn suit, looked exhausted. Amaka sat in the back with the kids, scowling. The judge turned to Danielle. "Do you wish to say anything before I rule?" Danielle stood. "Yes, Your Honor. I opened my home, heart, and life to a man who promised me love, but brought lies. I was a stepping stone in his immigration scheme. I'm not seeking revenge. I'm seeking closure and to warn other women." The courtroom was silent. The judge ruled in her favor. Annulment granted. Obinna's application for permanent residency denied. Danielle's story was picked up by vlogs, YouTubers, and talk shows. She was invited to speak on the Breakfast Club, where she said, "This isn't about all African men or immigration. It's about deception, emotional abuse, and the silence of women like me." She began writing a book titled Married for Papers, a support group for women who've been used for immigration fraud. Obinna, now on a deportation list, lived in hiding. Amaka blamed him for everything. "You let her get in your head. You got soft." "No," he said bitterly. "I fell for her, and I ruined everything because I didn't respect her." The kids cried themselves to sleep most nights. The dream was over. 1 year later, Danielle stood in front of a packed bookstore for her first book signing. A young woman whispered, "You are the reason I left my toxic relationship." Danielle smiled. Then it was all worth it. She walked outside to her car, the sunset bathing her in gold, free, empowered, reborn. A year before Obinna left Nigeria, a desperate phone call between Obinna and a mystery man in Abuja. The mystery man says to Obinna on the phone, "I can get the paper done, but you will owe me big time." Obinna replies to the man, "Whatever it takes, just get me to America." Unknowns to Danielle or even Amaka, Obinna had deeper ties. His journey wasn't just about a green card. It was part of a bigger hustle connected to immigration fraud rings back home. Back in Atlanta, Danielle was thriving. Her book had hit bestseller lists. She was being invited to speak at international conferences about emotional abuse, immigration scams, and healing. But fame brought unwanted attention. She started receiving anonymous texts. The text says, "Not everyone wants to be famous, D. You think you are a hero. You ruin a family. They are coming for you." She ignored them at first until she noticed a black car parked across from her apartment 3 nights in a row. Obinna had avoided deportation. Barely a friend tipped him off, and he disappeared into the undocumented shadow of the USA. He worked in underground labor markets, exploited, unpaid, and always looking over his shoulder. Amaka had left him and gone back to Nigeria with the kids. She couldn't bear the shame anymore. Obinna wasn't finished. He wanted revenge. "She humiliated me. She turned me into a joke. he said, watching Danielle's TED Talk on YouTube. She needs to pay. He reached out to an old contact, someone who specialized in forging documents and rerouting identities. Enter Marcus, a kind, emotionally intelligent Ghanaian American lawyer who admired Danielle's strength. They met at a book event. Slowly, they began dating. Danielle was cautious at first, but Marcus was different, calm, patient, with no trace of manipulation. I'm not here to save you, he says. You already saved yourself. I just want to work with you. Danielle started to feel safe again, until one night, she came home to her apartment door slightly open. Inside, a note was pinned to her wall. Don't think this is over. I'm still in this country, and I'm watching. While Danielle tried to move forward, the U.S. Immigration Department had quietly reopened Obinna's case, linking it to a Nigerian-American marriage scam syndicate. His name kept showing up in suspicious files, flagged visa application, and false school enrollment. An officer visited Danielle, asking if she had any more information, even old text messages. She handed over everything. I want him found, not for revenge, but for every other woman he will try to hurt. Danielle and Marcus set a trap. Danielle announced a private book signing on social media, hinting she would share never-before-heard stories from her past. Obinna took the bait. He showed up in disguise, hoodie, sunglasses, fake ID, but the room was full of undercover agents. As he approached Danielle, whispering, "You never deserved me anyway," 4 ICE officers grabbed him and slammed him to the ground. Danielle watched him silently as he was cuffed. Danielle said to Obinna, "You didn't just lose your green card," she whispered. "You lost every piece of power you thought you had." Months later, Obinna had been deported and blacklisted. The fraud ring was under investigation in both Nigeria and the US. Danielle had moved into a new home. She was now engaged to Marcus. She no longer feared the past. In a final TikTok video, she said, "Closure isn't about revenge. It's about reclaiming peace, choosing joy, and knowing your story helped someone else survive." She turned off the camera and smiled and walked into the arms of a man who saw her not as a stepping stone, but as a queen. The moral of this story is you can always reclaim your power and restart your life. It's never too late to build yourself and find love. Thank you for watching. If you're new here, make sure you subscribe and like this video, and also share this video. Don't forget to turn on the notification bell. Thank you.